It is a defence attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it'd turn out like this. Emma.
So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life
Was Emma Skye.
Seaworthy, can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Gant, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in that case, were you not? Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used false evidence to ensure his conviction.
But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer, that's undeniable.
I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know we aren't defenders of justice?
What?
We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact can't be denied.
What's going on in the prosecutor's office? They might have sent an innocent man to his death. How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order! 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 The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. Trust me to cut off the episode right before the fucking ending again. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble.
Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours.
Oh, I'm not interrupting anything, pals.
Yes, you are.
Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it?
Got a lot of nerve, pal. Making a detective run all around while on duty.
And top it all off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. We've heard this before. I take it Lana's having you run errands again.
Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal.
Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Oh, that's insulting. Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. It's for children! Look at that!
You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without approval of the police department.
Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so.
You got only studied some evidence law, really? The Chief Prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message.
A message? She said, If you plan to take him on, you're gonna need this book. Him.
I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. From Miss Sky explains the 2 rules of evidence law.
Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the Chief Prosecutor's sentence.
That's where you're wrong, Detective.
Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet.
What? What else is there left to do?
Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you're unaware of. Emma Sky found out she unwittingly caused a man to death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal.
You're missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there.
What?
And we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end.
Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honour.
The Inquiry Committee's plan to impose harsh penalties for your actions.
Thank you for the news, Your Honour.
Yes, well... Normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness, but, this isn't easy to say. You see, there's some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain.
You think I may have manipulated the witnesses?
I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone's been talking and...
Very well, Your Honour. I have a solution.
A solution?
That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defence to call forth all further witnesses.
What? There's no precedent for what you're proposing.
Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It will prove I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say?
Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well, the defence accepts the prosecution's proposal.
Then it's settled. The defence may now call forth the next witness.
Mr. Wright, you do realise this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. Safety save, safety save. The defence calls. The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. Damon Gant. The defence calls Damon Gant to the stand.
Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything?
As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it.
As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honour? True. All right, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand.
Witness, please state your name and occupation.
What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch.
Your name and occupation, sir.
Worthy, are you sure you want to do this?
Your name and occupation.
So, you want to play hardball, eh?
Please, Mr. Gant.
Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I am the acting chief of police.
Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony.
Oh, righto. What's with the grim face?
First, let's clear up this SL9 incident.
Oh, you mean the time when Lana's sister murdered a prosecutor? Personally, I think that's been made pretty clear already.
There are still some things unaccounted for.
Oh? Like what?
The role you played in all of this.
Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that the police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal.
Weapons?
Sure, take my testimony, for example.
Oh, almost forgot. Evidence law. No evidence shall be shown without approval of the police. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Okay.
Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to.
What? Is that true?
I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify.
Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks.
Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you.
Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony.
As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. The power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she'd already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery.
Is that when Dark was arrested?
Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head.
I see. Everything seems perfectly clear-cut. If the chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day.
That's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that.
Was the defendant Lana Sky also present in the room?
I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it.
So the two of you ran immediately after him, right?
That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first, so Neil and I split up. He went upstairs, I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky.
What's this about a power outage?
Oh, that! The elevator stopped all of a sudden, and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil was when the knife went through his heart, though.
That's not funny. Can you tell us what you saw?
It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying on a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying
Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor.
Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls, Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done.
She'd already arranged the crime scene. How can you know that?
Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved.
So that means you found the body near Lana's desk?
That's right. I think you said earlier. It was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor.
Yes.
Anyway, I had nothing to do with the forgery.
So you're saying the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt. Moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances.
Is that really how it went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you better start staring at the court record.
Were they? Always the smooth talker.
Which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gant to the incident. Found in Chief Gant's safe. I wonder if that's what ties it all.
Objection!
Yes, there we go. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid that's a claim you can't back up.
Explain yourself.
Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example.
That's the blue badger you showed.
Wrong voice.
That's the blue badger you showed us earlier.
A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk.
It was found where?
Wrong voice again. You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation.
Chief Gant, what is the meaning of this? Oh, here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy.
So you admit it then? You were involved in the forgery?
Who, me? What do you mean, you?
Me? Why would I have anything to do with it?
Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys do it too. Isn't that right, Writer?
However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation.
Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment.
What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work.
Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding the pieces of evidence found in your office and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My, kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Doc was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honour.
When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I'm the chief of police, right? There will be consequences.
Oh,
Indeed, I believe I will press charges so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief. Would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today's, well, you know. All right, Archie. In return, though, I know that place, right?
huh? What are these guys, telepathic? I'd appreciate it if you stopped making these ridiculous allegations.
Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that.
What? I'll have you know, back in the day I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped...
Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later.
Later? What are you talking about?
What else? I'm talking about when Wright's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal.
I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. What do you mean by that?
This is all purely hypothetical, of course, but suppose I did place the items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery.
If considering evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery...
I'm not through speaking yet, righto. It all depends on when the evidence is discovered.
If they're found after Dart was convicted, they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation?
It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence.
Oh, that's just the fucking drawing.
For all we know, it could have suddenly materialised the day after Dark was sentenced.
Oh, wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The Chief is talking about a possibility. So long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know.
Come now, righto. Think about it.
How can you look me in the eye and say that?
Because I'm innocent. Remember, who was it that murdered Neil?
I'm not sure I care for the word murder here, but in the end the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye.
Well, now do you see?
Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all this.
Oh, I wasn't aware. What's this benefit?
That would of course be the position you have, Chief of Police.
Oh!
The resolution of the SO9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive.
Oh, that's a good one!
Huh?
You really think I'm that incompetent?
What do you mean?
Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little.
Oh, damn his voice. Oh. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway. Ah. Excuse me.
Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at.
So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else.
Don't be silly, Worthy, you know me better than that. There are only three people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There it's out in the open now. Archie, would you mind if I change my testimony a little?
By all means, please do. I won't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you.
Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you better think again.
You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone.
Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised.
You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though.
Oh, that's a good one, Worthy.
Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he help someone out? True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well then. Who is the person you believe Chief Gant may have helped to forge evidence? Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye, the defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the Prosecutor's Office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? He'd be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. You mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Judge, come on. Oh wait! You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive? To appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you could control her.
Right, sir, my boy, you have quite the imagination. Let me ask you something.
What?
Do you have any proof of this, that I control Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing?
Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant.
I'm afraid without any proof this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Well there, you better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean?
What he means, Your Honour, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement.
What? Order! I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious.
Huh?
This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in a law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? It's impossible.
Your Honour, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easy-to-understand language.
It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now.
Looks like he's the one who decided to go through with this.
Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? The chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder.
Good question.
Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. All right then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us this evidence that Chief Gant is the murderer of Detective Goodman.
This is,
This is the ID card list.
Yes, the one who shows he entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7777777.
Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that it's my card number.
It's your number.
What? How do you know that?
The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code.
7 digits? You don't mean...
I'm afraid so, Your Honour. The code was 7777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime.
Order! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say?
Nothing.
The defence's search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card.
Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime?
What about it? I'm the chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Damn it.
I'm glad this is the last one. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone?
I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do in the evidence room.
Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he?
Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days.
You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant? I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman.
What do you mean? The trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt.
No, it isn't, Your Honour. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting?
In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof the victim went to meet Chief Gant the day of the crime.
February 23rd. Get it out. February 21st, SL9. Oh, fuck off! That day, Detective Goodman had to go see Chief Gant.
Sorry to interrupt your mumblings, but the court is waiting.
Oops.
Why don't you come meet with me tomorrow? Perhaps we can write up your letter of termination.
Regardless, you did see Goodman that day. Is it the ID record again? No. Over an hour and a half of 4. Ah. Maybe. Fuck! Submitted to the Chief of Police. Ah! Detective Goodman lost his ID card the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have to give that report to the Chief of Police.
Yet you're in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filled it.
Filed it. Filled it, filed it, I don't fucking know. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day.
He needed to?
Yes, to transfer the evidence out.
Oh.
Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. And then you accompanied the detective to the evidence room.
I accompanied him?
There's no other way to murder Detective Goodman. There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room.
Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman?
Exactly.
But wait, the Chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes, Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort.
Judge, why did you... Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. Chief Gant, you didn't! The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose a police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright. The victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did you manage to move it there?
I was at the police department the entire day, you know.
And everyone's aware that Lana Skye stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal.
Oh, do you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so.
Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. Get it out. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space.
How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us the evidence.
To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. Evidence from a past case brought to his office by Gant's request. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body.
What's this, a screwdriver? What does it have to do with this case?
Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... Ah! I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep this here at the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean I... The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car.
Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car?
Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation: to transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye.
Order! Order! What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to defense's outrageous accusations?
Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed into the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk.
Chief Gant, please say something! I believe your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Wright, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it for the early bird special.
But the cross-examination isn't finished yet.
Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal.
Weapons?
The right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? This is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
So you're going to just run away after all this?
Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're going to say, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now.
Well,
You think I had law to dispose of the body? If so, show your proof and get it over with.
I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of his body? Do I have any concrete proof? What happens if I say I have no proof yet? It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honour, at present I have no conclusive evidence.
Huh. See, Ajay.
In that case, this court is forced to penalise you for your actions against the Chief. What?
Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto. Seems that Lady Luck is on my side again today. Okay, Ajay, I'll leave the rest to you.
I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to the senior officer of our nation's law enforcement agency. What? Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honour of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth? Another witness? In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room.
Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person?
Why are you asking me, Your Honour? Have you forgotten? The defence is the one calling witnesses today.
Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist?
She may not be willing to tell the truth. We can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honour. The defence calls forth...
The defendant? Lana Skye?
She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 on February the 21st. Her task? To dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders.
Mr. Edgeworth?
The prosecution has no objections, Your Honour.
Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in...
Hold on.
Huh? Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana.
He's talking to Lana.
I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder.
This isn't good.
Of course you never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. All right then, I've got a lunch date to meet. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess.
Looks like we managed to stay in the game.
Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief, he's something else, eh, pals?
Detective Gumshoe.
I'm not a detective anymore.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office.
My office?
Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knot girl you used to work with.
What do you mean? Maya?
Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How's it he always gets the upper hand?
It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify.
Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said? It's our right to be casually invoked. There will be certain risks to be considered.
Risks? What do you mean by that?
It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true.
You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me.
Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside to force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to.
That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall.
Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. You won't blame anyone, blame society, pal.
Chief Gant maybe fool everyone else with his forgery. But he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armour.
I see. Better get back in time for the final act.
Emma, why don't you wait it? No, I'm going in with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth.
Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this.